Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese, the final matchup of the WNBA season, and it all came down to this. Going into this game, ESPN listed Angel Reese as the Rookie of the Year leader, but after this game, their list might have changed, because this game was probably going to be the decider what separates these two young players. It was Barbie night in Chicago to celebrate Angel Reese, and this game had everything from big shots, dirty plays, taunting. It was the most highly anticipated WNBA game in history, and it did not disappoint, so let's talk about it. First play of the game, Indiana go to their go-to. They did this on the opening play against the Mercury, and they did it here too. Clark into Boston, who waits and finds Kelsey Mitchell on the backdoor cut across the baseline. The Sky get their first points on the boards with Lindsay Allen, but look how quick the Fever come back. Allen hits the deck, and you see Clark look at her, see she's on her ass, so she gets out with speed, stalls, and waits for Angel Reese to commit to one of the two players she's guarding. Once she does that, Clark finds Smith inside for an easy layup. Someone who's quietly coming into their own this season is Kamilla Cardoso. She's been playing a lot better, and watch here down low how she just lets Smith and Boston fly by and lays it in easily. A new face from the last time we talked about the Sky is Michaela Oyinware. She stepped into the lineup since the Maybury trade and started off this game strong with a nice floater. She was the Sky player assigned the impossible task of guarding Caitlin Clark, and she learned the hard way that if you go under the drag screen with number 22, you're gonna get punished. But guess who answers right back? Angel Reese. She lets fire from free at the top of the key and knocks down what would have been just her third free ball of the entire season, but the whistle had gone so it didn't count. And watch Lindsay Allen here. She could throw it back into the 6'7 Cardoso and let her fight with her former teammate down low. Angel Reese is also demanding the ball at the free throw line, but Allen, feeling herself, matched up with the taller Smith, lets a high arcing free ball fly, and it's all net. Nalissa Smith on this play tries to go one-on-one with Reece, who pokes the ball loose and gets the steal. Angel runs the floor with three bodies around her, doesn't force the issue, instead kicks it out to her again, and Lindsay Allen makes it back-to-back free balls. The fans came to see a shooter, and they got one they weren't expecting, because there she is again. Allen uses the screen from Cardoso and fades towards the baseline off balance and scores. Even she can't keep a smile off her face. That's three straight jump shots for Lindsay Allen, and it's raining threes from the Sky. This time doubled, kicks back out to the perimeter, and Michaela's open, and she makes it 3 for 3 from Chicago from the perimeter. It's an 11-0 Sky run, and the Fever can't believe that statistically the WNBA's worst three-point shooting team are lighting them up from downtown. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. The Sky get the ball inside to Cardoso, she kicks it out to Allen, and this time the Fever respect her jumper. Clark rushes to close out, so Lindsay throws it into Reece, who overpowers Smith and finishes at the goal for her first points of the game. With so much on the line in this game and so many eyeballs, Caitlin Clark was not about to let herself get cooked by Lindsay Allen, so she started getting aggressive. She just attacks right here, goes straight to the hole and finishes for the score. But the Sky hadn't cooled off and hit another free ball. They're so far ahead early in this game that the Fever could double their points and still be trailing. Clark was the only Fever player with a sense of urgency. Running at pace before the Sky can set up defensively, she crosses court and slips it into Kelsey Mitchell with a bounce pass right on the money, and one, and that's got to give the Fever a spark. Kelsey Mitchell has been one of the WNBA's best guards since the All-Star break, second in the entire WNBA during this time period, and she gets them back into this game. Boston doesn't want anything with Cardoso down low, so she kicks it out to Kelsey Mitchell. Free ball from the corner is good, and that's a quick 6-point swing from Kelsey Mitchell, and the Fever are suddenly back in the game. Another lady in fine form is Lexi Hall. She steps up from the left side, waits for Boston to screen to get some daylight, lets fire and scores. She's shooting an insane 70% from 3-point range in her last 5 games. She's proven to be a knockdown shooter, coming off 6 threes in their win against Seattle. And just like that, all the work the Sky did to get ahead in this game, and they only lead by 6. The Fever close the quarter strong. Temi gets a piece of the entry pass to Reece. Clark comes up with the possession, races out, creates an angle, and threads the needle with a one-handed bounce pass. Another and one, and it's a 3-point game. The quarter ends 26-23 Chicago, who led by as many as 12. They couldn't hold on to their double-digit lead for even a quarter, and the Fever are suddenly confident. They weathered the storm, and know when the Sky start missing from 3 that they're going to be able to take control of the game. Mitchell leading the Fever in scoring with 8 points, Clark had 3 assists, while Lindsay Allen and Michaela were unexpectedly carrying the scoring load for Chicago. The second period starts and the first points of the quarter came from number 22. The Fever patiently moved the ball around. Clark, who moments earlier had nowhere to go, catches her defender ball watching, flares out to the logo and sinks a long free ball from legit Steph Curry NBA range, and the game's now tied at 26. Angel Reese comes down the other way. She's been quiet and wants in on the action, but she's called for a travel. Fever have some momentum, and here we see a great iteration of the Iverson cut. Clark looks like she's playing tag, getting chased all over the court, but it's still not enough to catch her. 2 high post screens to give her the room she needs, and despite 3 defenders doing everything to try and stop her from getting her shot off, she makes it 2 in a row from deep, and the Fever take the lead for the first time in the game. Clark is 3 of 4 from 3 so far, heating up from downtown. It's absolutely chaos now. Evans gets a layup. Clark out of the frame, doesn't see DeShields over her shoulder. She steals it and goes up for the quick 2, but Temi blocks the shot. Clark recovers possession and sends a long one out to Erica Wheeler for the layup. She scores, and this game is getting crazy. Michaela, who started off well, is still finding ways to put points on the board for the Sky. But watch this from Caitlin Clark. The Mitchell backdoor cut is nothing new, but watch this spin on the ball and how on the money the pass is. That's her up to 6 assists in the game, and it's not even half time yet. Make that 7. Inbound to Clark. Mitchell curls from the corner round the screen from Dantas, sees Cardoso sagging, checks, fires and scores a long 2 over the 6'7" Brazilian. That lady is on some serious smoke. Wheeler bricks the free from the corner but shows her hustle, chasing down her own rebound. She passes to Mitchell, who steps into a 3 and you already know it's good, and Teresa Weatherspoon is forced into a timeout. The Indiana Fever up 7, Kelsey Mitchell with 15 points on 6 of 9 shooting so far. But did you think she was done? Now it's Kelsey's time to have this guy playing tag. Same Iverson cut play they ran for Caitlin, and it's the same result. Good defense doesn't matter because Kelsey Mitchell is the best scoring guard in the WNBA right now, and there isn't a shot on the basketball court she can't make. That's 10 points in the second quarter for Mitchell, and Chicago are now the ones down double digits. End of the shot clock, finally they have something to be excited about as Rachel Banham hits a 3. But Caitlin Clark understands the psychology of basketball, so before the crowd can get hyped and get back into it, she shuts them down. Right away she goes and gets those 3 points back the old fashioned way, count the basket in the and one. 90% free throw shooter, that should be automatic, but she missed. Typical. Lindsay Allen, after a hot start, went kind of quiet in the second, as this bucket right here was her first since the first period. Finally, Angel Reese, who's been incredibly quiet with just 2 points on 1 of 4 shooting near in the half, is tempted into taking a long 2, hesitates, decides to pull the trigger and actually knocks it down. She's getting a little bit more comfortable with her jump shot, which is good to see. But weirdly though, on back-to-back possessions, the referees gave Clark 2 turnovers when they were blatantly both kickball violations. I don't know how both of these plays went uncalled, and it's unfair that 2 of Clark's 3 turnovers were from these 2 plays. But out of frustration, Clark didn't track back on defense, and that actually led to the easiest point she'd score all night, as for once, she was the one furthest ahead cherry picking in transition, and that's a layup drill for her. The half ends with some Lindsay Allen free throws, 47-42 Fever lead, and so far it's been a battle of the backcourt, with Mitchell and Clark combining for 33 first half points, but Lindsay Allen and Michaela were holding their own too, and that's why it was still a close game. What was very surprising was to see how little scoring we saw from the front court players. We had 4 lottery picks in the front court and they all basically just cancelled each other out. The third quarter weirdly starts with Angel Reese at the line, and she gets a free point basically for a technical foul after the second quarter ended. So that's an ideal start to the half for her after struggling in the first. But the real first field goal of the game came right here. Clark grabs the board, leads the break, and nobody picks up the lefty on the left wing, and that's an easy jumper for the WNBA's best bucket getter right now. Speaking of bucket getters, the Fever have a few of those. After the Sky turned the ball over, Clark matched up with another one of her rivals, Camila Cardoso, who beat her in the national championship game final. Clark identifies the mismatch, fakes her on the drive, goes behind the back, steps back to the 3-point line, gets the shot up over the 6'7" Cardoso and drains it. Another 3 on the board for CC, and just look at her reaction. She's been waiting to get her get back at Cardoso since her last game at Iowa. Rachel Banham has never seen a shot she doesn't like, this time connects on one. But the other way, Caitlin Clark tries to answer right back. She misses but is fouled and goes to the line for 3 free throws, and this time she doesn't leave any points on the board. But the Sky are hanging with the Fever from the perimeter, and Michaela punishes them for disrespecting her range, and that's the 7th 3-pointer in the game for Chicago. I said earlier in the game that the bigs have been quiet. Well, Nalissa Smith got loud here. Watch her put the ball on the floor, turn the corner and aggressively attack Angel Reese. She absorbs contact and finishes for an and one. What a play that was. The Sky still playing inside out basketball. Camila almost loses it but maintains control because she just towers over everyone, tips it to Reece, who scans the floor and picks out Lindsay Allen, who just keeps cooking and adds another 3 more to her points tally. She's 100% from the perimeter in this game, and the Fever lead by only 7 points. Just over 5 minutes in the third, and Nalissa Smith continues to get the better of Angel Reese, this time getting physical down low, strong inside position, forces the foul and scores for another and one. Caitlin Clark here showing her maturity as a point guard. She knows that Smith has it going, so her priority is to get her the ball. Watch Clark ignore the pick and roll, drive inside to draw attention, and then kick the ball back out to Smith on the perimeter, who drops in a 1-foot runner off the dribble from the foul line over Cardoso, getting it to go. She gets another 2 at the line, and then uncharacteristically, for just the 14th time this season, Nalissa Smith tries her luck from the perimeter, and the heat check 3 is good. Nalissa Smith carrying the Fever offensively in the third, extending the lead to 12 points. But the Sky still managed to keep it somewhat close, and Diamond DeShields took over towards the end of the third, carrying the scoring burden, getting to the line consistently, and making field goals. Then right here in transition, she goes behind the back and with nowhere to go, just instinctively throws the ball up at the hoop, count the basket and a foul, making it a 3-point play. But Diamond DeShields' role in this game is far from over, stay tuned. Clark ends up back at the line, drills both the free throws, DeShields still impacting the game, assists Harrison on the long 2, and just check out the magic from Indiana here. Inbound play, Clark to Mitchell, hands it back to Clark. It's set up to look like Clark's about to assist Mitchell on the 3, but coming off the screen with Cardoso sagging in drop coverage, Mitchell could pull the trigger. Instead, she waits a split second for Cardoso to step up, Dantas rolls in behind her, she passes it off, and it's a beautiful sequence that leads to a lovely assisted basket for the Fever. Under a minute to go in the third, shot clock winding down, Harrison penetrates, is challenged by Wheeler but uses the backboard well to bank it in on the drive from a tough angle. Just over 30 seconds left, now Dantas getting in on the action. She hits a free ball to put the Fever back up double digits. The third ends and the Fever lead by 14 going into the fourth and final quarter. The game is slipping away from Chicago here, and they needed something big and fast to get back into the game. And it didn't help that the first points of the fourth went Indiana's way. Sky run the pick and roll with Cardoso, Allen's pass is tipped by Dantas, Temi running the floor dishes off to Mitchell, who uses the basket as protection to reverse it up and in. That's 80 points on the board for the Fever, 14 of those coming on the fast break. Never thought I'd ever say this, but with 8 minutes to go in the game, we finally have the first field goal from Aaliyah Boston. Backing down Angel Reese, she half spins down low to get a bit of separation and gets it to go go from close range, and then on the next play, something we've not seen all game is the Clark-Boston two-man game. Screen action here, the Sky blitz Clark on the double, but the chemistry and quick ball movement keeps the defense guessing and results in an Aaliyah Boston jumper from the foul line, which is all net. She hadn't scored all game and then gets 2 baskets on back-to-back possessions. Rachel Banman here doing everything she can, hits a free, and that shot right there set the Sky's record for most free-pointers in a single game this season with 9. But somehow they're shooting the best they have all season and are still 15 points down in this game because they didn't do what they usually do, which is dominate inside, and you're not going to beat Indiana from the perimeter, not when Caitlin Clark is driving and kicking out to Lexi Hall, the sharpshooter, who knocks it down and gets another assist for 22. Next play, copy and paste. Same duo, same result. Clark in transition, 2-on-1 advantage, waits for Allen to step up and commit to her, then slides the bounce pass to Lexi in the corner, who makes it 6 quick points and back-to-back threes. Caitlin Clark now up to 12 assists. She beats Mrs. Double-Double to the double-double in the game that everybody's watching. Chicago down 19 points might be done, but Caitlin Clark wasn't. She's chasing history now. Watch Clark here, crosses into the ball screen. One dribble is all she needs from that left side. Jacks it up and nails her 6th free ball in the game, looking like her Iowa self. And here's when things start to get a little bit heated. Dirty plays incoming that are going to have everybody talking in the media. Right here, Clark tries to cut across the lane and takes a hit from DeShields. It was completely unnecessary and there was definitely some elbow in that push. The very next play, the exact same thing happens with the same players. DeShields needlessly again getting physical with Caitlin, using the shoulder this time to bump her, and that's happened on back-to-back times. Where was this defensive intensity earlier in the game when Caitlin Clark was going off? Why are they only acting like this now, down almost 20 points? But it gets even worse, because Clark here tries to get out on the break and DeShields for the 3rd time in 30 seconds comes flying into the side of her full speed with no intention of getting the ball whatsoever, trying to hurt Caitlin. Watch Clark here just instantly run away from the situation. She was mad. And check this out, I'm no professional lip reader, but that looks like to me that Caitlin Clark saying she wants to punch her in her effing face. Rightfully so, if you're getting targeted by someone, you would want to punch them in the face. But credit to Caitlin Clark for staying professional and removing herself from that situation before she ended up doing something stupid that would get her in a lot of trouble and damage her reputation and everything positive that she's got going on a national stage. DeShields just looks crazy right now and was obviously mad that her team was getting cooked. But the joke was on her because she just kept sending Caitlin to the line with these silly fouls and letting her add easy points to her stat line. And with that make it the line, Caitlin Clark finally checked out of the game. Head coach Chris decides, knows how important Caitlin is and doesn't want to risk her getting hurt when Chicago Sky players are clearly out to get her. And watch Caitlin Clark soak it all in. She's in enemy territory, the Sky's building, and she's had it going with the fans all night. She knows what she's done tonight and what it means for her, and she's loving every second of it. I could end this video right now. The Fever led by almost 30 points with just over 3 minutes to go, but we need to talk about Angel Reese first. There's been a lot of stat padding allegations regarding her double-double streak, and this is a great example of that right here with everybody watching. The game is done. All of the Fever starters are out of the game, most of the Sky starters are out of the game, and Angel Reese had just 5 points and 9 rebounds. There is absolutely no chance the Sky can come back, but for some reason Angel Reese is still in the game playing against bench warmers. At this point she had just 5 points and 9 rebounds. But she stays in the game. Right here she scores here over Temi, that's her up to 7 points, and all of a sudden she looks more aggressive than she's looked all night, drives at Temi again, gets fouled, goes 1 of 2 at the line, taking her up to 8 points, and with just over 90 seconds to go, with no starters left in the game and the game completely over, Reese is still in there again, getting aggressive, goes inside, spins and scores over her shoulder for her 10th point, and she gets her double-double with 10 points and 10 rebounds, making history with 23 double-doubles, the most ever from a rookie. But this right here is a perfect example of how we are devaluing what a double-double really means, and that this whole case for her being Rookie of the Year is kinda flawed. Because Angel Reese was not good in this game. She had no impact when it actually mattered and the Sky had a chance. Did anybody who watched this game feel like Angel Reese was dominant? She wasn't, but people are gonna think she was just by looking at the stats and seeing that she got a double-double. This isn't a one-off either. This has happened a bunch of times this season, and I watched every game and found all the examples of this in my last WNBA video that you can watch when we're done here, and I'm telling you, you will be shocked to hear some of the stats in that video. But the Fever won this game comfortably in the end, 100 points to 81, and this right here surely settled the debate. It was the final matchup between the two. With no NBA basketball, everybody was watching the WNBA on a Friday night, and Caitlin Clark dropped one of the best games of her career, an absolute masterclass. 31 points, 12 assists, 4 rebounds, 8 of 14 shooting. She was the best player on the court by far in this game, and the Fever just keep marching on. 5-1 since the All-Star break. They're looking like a team that can really make noise, whereas the Sky are looking like they're going straight to the lottery. Surely the Rookie of the Year is in the bag now. Clark came into Reece's house and stole the award from her just days after ESPN tipped Angel to win it. I've got a video on that controversial subject coming soon, so subscribe to the channel to see that, and go check out the video on Angel Reece and why she's the most dominant yet flawed player I've ever seen in basketball. I guarantee you'll learn something in that video. Click the big box in the middle of your screen to watch that, and on that note, it's DKM signing out until next time, and peace.